There are countless groups on Telegram dedicated to a variety of topics, but few are as disturbing as one that has been publicly exposed recently, involving over 73,000 members who use the group to exchange tips on how to essay women and share photos and videos of themselves doing so. Let's investigate. If you enjoy internet mysteries and generally disturbing content, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can become a Ko-fi member or a channel member to gain access to uncut videos and other perks, or you can leave me a tip by clicking the thanks under this video. Thanks to anyone who considers this. This video will focus on SA and may be particularly triggering to anyone who has been affected by such crimes themselves. Viewer discretion is advised. You can click the link in the description to watch an uncut and ad-free version of this video, which features extra details that were unsuitable for this cut. On the 17th of December 2024, the YouTube channel STRG_F uploaded a video with the title, translated from German, The Network on Telegram. It was a 41-minute documentary created by a group of journalists who had been investigating a number of extremely shocking groups on Telegram dedicated to drugging and essaying women. One of the groups they found had 73,000 members, and there were various others that also had thousands of members. There seems to be a constant stream of such groups. When one gets taken down, one or more new groups pop up to replace it, and they quickly attract new members. While the messages tend to be in English, there appears to be members from all around the world. Within these groups, members, the vast majority, if not all, are men, discuss methods of essaying women, typically in their homes. The women may be the members' partners, their sisters, their mothers, and the one thing that they all seem to have in common is that they're all totally unaware of what these predators are doing to them. The members share photos and videos of the women, mostly unconscious, or after they've been drugged but before they pass out, stumbling around disorientated. These photos and videos are often accompanied by messages asking other members for recommendations on what should be done to the women, such as objects to be inserted and other acts of SA. The members are clearly eagerly anticipating the content that will be posted after the perpetrator has decided exactly how he will violate the woman. While some seem to be experts at this, talking as if they'd done it multiple times before to multiple different women, others asked for advice on how to make sure their victims stayed unconscious throughout the attack. For example, one said, "I would love to be able to when she's sleeping, but what can I use at home to make sure she sleeps through it? New to this." This was sent at 1:29 AM, so it seems the member had waited for his girlfriend to fall asleep before consulting the group. Another member replied, "The message is blurred in the documentary, but I guess they recommended some kind of drug to keep her asleep." Another message shown from a different time read, "It all starts with one small pint of vodka and ends with some sleeping pills and Vaseline on her. This happens every week. She's drunk as right now and she on some sleep meds, so I should be having some fun soon, hopefully." Another member replied, "Wow, fantastic, what's she look like?" The first user then sends multiple photos and videos of his girlfriend. Thankfully, these are blurred in the documentary, but they are presumably inappropriate and show her either unconscious or close to that state. He then says, "Give me a minute, let's see what condition she's in." Another member asks what plans he has in mind, and he replies, "Oh, definitely some kitchen utensils," with a devil emoji below. When photos of women are shared, the members laugh at and mock them, clearly enjoying the thought of them being unaware of what's being done to them and unable to do anything to stop it. They also make it known that they are to this content, particularly those that don't have access to women they can essay themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if this accounts for a significant portion of the members of these groups. There are plenty that post evidence of their own crimes, but I think many of the others just get off on the fantasy of essay. That doesn't make these individuals any less dangerous. I don't doubt that many of them would essay women themselves if they had the opportunity. Perhaps they're just lurking there, gathering information that they can use in the future if and when they're ever left alone with a woman. While many members are showing themselves essaying their own girlfriends, there also seems to be a lot of incel types in these groups too, who sound like they have either never had contact with a woman or at least not recently. Another of the messages shown in the documentary responded to someone saying, "Sleeping are the best," with, quote, "especially when it's a woman who wouldn't let you see or touch it while conscious." I remember hearing about a similar group a while ago, albeit a much smaller one, and seeing screenshots of messages from men talking about how women deserve these crimes because they wouldn't willingly have contact with them, as if it was some kind of sick revenge or something. The lack of self-awareness is insane. Like, I wonder why women wouldn't want to go for the type of man who spends his free time discussing SA tips with other creeps online. These men really seem to love the thought of women being abused. That's the part they get off on, as opposed to those that just seem to see whatever harm they caused women as collateral damage. Harming them is just an inevitable part of it, but their needs somehow justify it in their minds. Not that the second type is any better here, but it's somehow even more sick if the part you enjoy the most is the thought of actually causing suffering, punishing women for something they objectively didn't even do wrong. Regardless of their primary motivations, many also seem to get off on the thought that they can do whatever they want to women, and the women have no idea it's even happening. One message shown in the doc read, "The wife swears she's never had anything in her. We know different, don't we?" As a woman, this is what I find absolutely terrifying about all this. This could happen to me, it could happen to my mum, it could happen to my friends, it could happen to you, and none of us would have any idea about it. The victims likely don't suspect anything is off with these men. They probably just come across like normal husbands, brothers, sons, normal men while you're awake, but total monsters while you're asleep. Knowing various statistics related to SA, it scares me to think there are probably people I associate with now that either have or will SA someone, and I'm none the wiser. Obviously, it goes without saying that it's not all men, but stories like this remind you that you usually don't know which men it is. It's even worse when you realise that many of the men in these groups clearly don't think they're doing anything wrong. One member shared a photo of what I assume was an unconscious naked woman, captioned, "It's not right if she didn't know it happened." When members share current photos and videos of women they're with at the time, other members would often suggest what they should do with them. Aside from the obvious suggestions, one thing I saw in a couple of different messages was eye check. I'm not 100% sure what this is, but it reminded me of a Nick Crowley video from a few years ago on Mr. Sleepy People, a YouTube channel showing a man prying open people's eyes while they're asleep and sometimes even touching their eyeballs. It seemed to be some kind of fetish, and some of the video titles included the phrase eye check, so I'm wondering if this is what was referenced in the group messages. The documentary focuses on a few different individuals. One is a man they call Liam, who claimed to have been with his girlfriend for about 8 years. He shared various photos and videos of her nude, and of both of them having contact, and made it clear that she is not aware, nor did she consent to this content being shared with anyone else. She had seemingly either sent some of these photos to him, or known that they existed at least, even if she didn't consent to them being shared, but some of the content seems to have been taken secretly. Men commented on her body after seeing the photos, and Liam responded, "Thank you, I've gotten somewhere around 75,000 views on her nudes. I love knowing she exists as I love knowing that strangers think about using her body in those ways without her having any idea. It's the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at her. She's a star and doesn't even know it." The level of objectification here is just so unsettling. It's like this man doesn't even see his girlfriend as a human being, but more like a toy that exists only for his gratification. Another member asks if he's thought about anyone else having contact with her, and he replies, "Absolutely. The problem is she is committed to a monogamous relationship. I fantasize about drugging her and bringing men home to use her regularly. I'm sure when we don't have roommates, I'll actually make it happen." Liam has clearly thought about all this a lot, and given how far he's gone already, I don't doubt that he would carry out this plan if he got the chance. Thankfully, the journalist managed to track down Liam's girlfriend on Instagram as he'd shared her real name in the group. They were both living in Canada, so the journalist contacted Canadian police. However, they were forced to close the case because the girlfriend didn't want to pursue a criminal investigation. After she was contacted on Instagram, she said she was in therapy, still processing what happened, and she wanted to put it all behind her. I hope to God that means she left that vile man and that one day she'll decide to press charges against him. I totally understand her reasons for not doing at the time, and it's absolutely her right as the victim to decide what she does, but Liam deserves to face consequences for what he did. Another person the documentary focused on was an admin from New York who they referred to as Dylan. He would share photos and videos of his sister while she was passed out drunk, as others would tell him to have contact with her, and it sounds like he actually did. He would also film random women in public while he harassed them. In one, he even onto a woman sat in front of him on a bus. In addition to posting free videos on the groups, members could also pay him to receive extra content. The journalist managed to find records of him, and turns out that he had been arrested in the past for filming up a woman's skirt in a supermarket. As I already mentioned, members in the groups will discuss methods and products to use to make women unconscious so they can film themselves essaying them without them realising. The most common substances used seem to be sleeping pills and benzodiazepines, typically mixed with alcohol. These would be relatively easy to find anyway, but in case any members were struggling to get hold of any, links were posted to online stores they could order products containing a cocktail of substances that could knock someone out for hours and ensure they wouldn't remember anything when they woke up. Although these were clearly marketed as sleeping liquids, sometimes by the store owners who frequented these groups themselves, the products would be disguised as something else, such as hair serum or eyelash glue remover. Group members would discuss the best doses to use, with some saying their partners were out cold for 14 to 17 hours at a time with higher doses. One member said, "Scared the shit out of me. Gave my girlfriend, and once she is down, she started breathing heavily, as if she was trying to catch her breath in her sleep. Felt like I almost took her life." This is another terrifying aspect of this. Not only are these men essaying women, they're literally risking killing them. Giving them high doses of potentially dangerous drugs, and even buying products specifically made for this purpose, with no idea what's actually in them or what the side effects may be. Most of these products don't even have an ingredient list, and if they did, God knows what else they contain that isn't mentioned. The journalist actually ordered 2 of these products and sent them off to a lab for testing, and it was revealed that one contained a high level of gamma-butyrolactone, or GBL, which is sometimes used by bodybuilders to promote production of a growth hormone. It can also be used recreationally to produce a euphoric feeling. There are serious health risks associated with it though, including respiratory depression, seizures, and even death, especially when mixed with other substances such as alcohol, which many of the members in these groups use to enhance the effect on the victims. The other product contained 3 active substances, including a veterinary anesthetic and a designer benzodiazepine, neither of which have been approved for use in humans. The documentary then went on to briefly cover the case of Giselle Pelicot, who between 2011 and 2020 was drugged and essayed by her husband Dominique and at least 83 other men who he'd invited to their home. She had no idea any of this was happening until 2020 when Dominique was arrested for upskirting women in a supermarket and police searched his computer. They found various images of Giselle unconscious and being essayed by all these men. Dominique had found these men in an online chat room titled "Without Her Knowledge," which sounds pretty similar to these Telegram groups we're covering in this video. It sounds a lot like Liam, the user who spoke about inviting other men over to use his girlfriend when they no longer had roommates. Giselle suffered memory lapses due to the drugs Dominique was using to knock her out, to the point where she started worrying she had Alzheimer's disease or a brain tumour. When tests came back negative, she actually started to become a bit suspicious and asked Dominique one time if he had been drugging her, but he denied it and she accepted, and so it continued to happen. The girlfriend of one of the men who was convicted in this case said that she worried she may have been drugged and essayed herself, remembering one night in 2019 when she woke up to find her partner attempting to assault her. Around that time, she had also experienced occasions of dizziness. She reported it to the police, but it was dropped due to lack of material evidence. Dominique had also essayed some of the wives of the men he invited to essay Giselle as well. It's awful to think that they took it in turns. One would invite the other over, and then the other would return the favour. Most normal people would meet friends and invite them over for dinner, but they were inviting each other over to essay their unconscious wives. Out of the 50 men who were defendants in this case, many of them claimed they didn't know what was happening until they got there. Some claimed even after they thought it was a consensual game, or they didn't know that Giselle had been drugged. Others admitted they didn't realise at the time she hadn't consented, whatever that means. I just don't buy it personally. They literally all met on a chat room named "Without Her Knowledge." I think they knew exactly what they were doing, as do all the members in these Telegram groups. Despite the unimaginable horrors that Giselle went through, she still somehow found the determination to carry on, and although as a victim of SA, she had the right to anonymity and a trial behind closed doors, she decided against this and insisted on a public trial to raise awareness. The judge initially decided to exclude the public from the court when the videos of Giselle being essayed were shown, but she successfully challenged this, saying of the defendants, quote, "The shame is theirs." She is truly an inspiration, and I hope her courage gives other victims the strength to speak out too. When this case was first revealed publicly, many were shocked and believed it was almost unprecedented, but the discovery of these Telegram groups show that such crimes are more common than most think. 73,000 members were in one of these groups, all sharing photos and videos of their partners, their family members, unconscious and unknowingly being abused, discussing tips and methods of assaulting women, and getting off on the results. It infuriates me knowing that most of these men will likely never face the consequences they deserve. This has honestly been one of the hardest videos to research. I'd heard of groups like this before, but watching that documentary and learning the scale of it was a sobering experience. It's just hard to believe how many people are involved in this stuff, and to imagine how many more are into that, but are even less likely to be caught because they aren't sharing evidence in public groups. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments, plus any suggestions you might have for a future video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Huge thank you to my Ko-fi members and channel members whose names are on screen now. I really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in a new video.